Week one of the 2022-23 NBA season is in the books, which means it's time to run it back. This is Run It Back, NBA Week in Review.
The voice of the fan. Drop a bounce pass, throw down the rim rocker. Lay up off the glass right past the shot blocker. I follow through like Kobe's is money. You can cash it. For news on LA hoops, come over to Beach Basket. Up-to-date sports, post-game reports, debates and play-by-play coming straight off the court. The voice of the fan making noise, causing havoc. Zone a man up, you can ask Peach Basket. The Peach Basket, coming soon on air. The Peach Basket, where the news begins. We're dropping news like we're in the stands. Creative views from the Astrid fans.
And I'm really excited to be back after what felt like a very long off season. This is the show where we recap the week that was in the NBA. I'm Jose Salviati, editor and contributor at thepeachbasket.net. Today we'll look back at the top performers in the NBA for week one, share our math-based NBA rankings, as well as our team of fan experts' predictions for the new season. And finally, briefly, we'll discuss the NBA question of the day. Today we're going to ask, are the Utah Jazz and Washington Wizards, currently both 2-0, playoff teams? But first, we want to take a look back at the best of the first week of the NBA in a segment we call NBA 6D. This is the best dunk, the best dish, the best dazzler, the best dime, the best dagger, and the dud of NBA Week 1. We go to Washington for the dagger and Bradley Beal. His team is tied against the Bulls with about 10 seconds to go, and he did what superstars do. Bradley Beal is, just to give you a little hint as to my thoughts on the Wizards and the Jazz, he is the difference between who the Wizards are and who the Jazz are. And we'll talk about that a little bit. On to Memphis for the dish of the week, brought to you by Ja Morant. Showtime was no doubt born in LA, but this week, Showtime lived in Memphis. Look at this. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we haven't seen since Magic Johnson. Ja Morant is special. You want to know how special? We stay in Memphis for the deny of the week because Ja Morant is that good. Ja Morant is that special. Look at what he did to start the game against the Rockets. That's incredible. That kind of stuff Magic Johnson never did. On to Orlando for the dunk of the week, rookie Paolo Banchero. Looks to be the real deal. Apologies here to Corey Joseph. What shocks me is the elevation and the ease that he got up. And Corey Joseph just moved out of the way. Smart man. No stranger to dazzling plays. The best of the week goes to Steph Curry. He put Anthony Davis in a spin cycle. I'm gonna I'm over here. No, it's wrong. I'm gonna go over here. Yeah, he's special too. Saving the worst for last, the dud of the week goes to James Harden. The problem with this play is that when you shimmy, you gotta swish, man. It's a great shimmy. That's quality shimmy right there. But then this shot, that gets him the dud of the week. It was an eventful first week in the NBA, and those were the best performances in week one. Now, normally this is where we would take a deeper dive into select NBA teams, but after week one and just a handful of games, well, actually the last couple of games for most teams, it just didn't seem worthwhile to really dive deep. Teams in week one aren't who they're going to be. So we'll save that for another time. Instead, we're going to go ahead and share our standings after week 1. This is something that I've done for myself, just for fun. I've never liked power rankings because I always thought that they were very subjective. They took a lot of people's opinions into the rankings. I didn't like that. I think a win is a win, a loss is a loss. What matters is who'd you beat and where were you when you beat them. And so that's what our rankings do. What they do is they just take all of the opinion out of it. We base the teams based on strength of schedule. Did you win on the road? Did you win at home? You can read all about it. Go to thepeachbasket.net for details. But we're not going to do all 30 teams here to start because, again, it's just the first week. So we're going to only focus on the unbeaten teams, starting at number 7. The surprise Washington Wizards. They've come up quite a bit so far. And we'll talk about them when we get to the question of the day. Coming in at number 6, the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, keep in mind we're just looking at undefeated teams, but these are the top 7 currently based on our rankings. New Orleans Pelicans coming in at number 5. I think that's a bit of a surprise, but this team looks good. I'm excited to talk about them as the season progresses. Number 4, the Los Angeles Clippers. They've not looked good coming out of the gate, but they haven't lost. So that gets them the number 4 spot. Number 3, Dame is back. It's Dame time in Portland once again. They are at number 3. The Celtics, I thought they were going to have some trouble acclimating to the new coach, but they haven't. They look really good. They come in at number 2. Now, the number 1 team. And I understand we're going to get a little bit of heat here. But this is based on, remember, who you beat and where you beat them. If you beat a really good team, you're going to get more points than if you beat a not-so-good team. You beat them on the road, you're going to get more points. So the team that has beaten the most good teams and the team that's earned the number 1 spot after week 1, don't think they'll be here long, but they're here now. The Utah Jazz. That's a shocker. Anybody who knows the NBA, who looks at this and is not shocked, is not an NBA fan. Nobody outside of Utah, and maybe including Utah, thought that these Jazz would be at 2-0 after the first 2 games of the season. There's just no way anybody thought that. But that's where they are, and good for them. Let's see how long they can keep that up. We'll talk about the Jazz again when we get to the NBA question of the day. All right, now on to something that we do at the start of every NBA season, and we share it regularly with you all. I like to ask our team of fan experts what their thoughts are, their predictions. Essentially, this is their chance to call their shot. We had 50 contributors last season. We're hoping for more this season. If you have an interest in the NBA, if you're a passionate NBA fan, you want to write about your team, you want to write about the NBA in general, you've got an interest in social media, podcasting, video streaming. If you want to create, find us at thepeachbasket.net. We would love to talk to you. We'd love to make you a part of this segment next season. But we asked our team, again, like we do at the start of every season, what they thought. This are their predictions. These are their predictions. They're etched in stone. We'll take a look back at the end of the season, see how we did. And generally, our team does pretty darn good. We're going to go division by division. We've got the Boston Celtics winning the Atlantic Division. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. Central Division winner, the Bucks, again, not too much of a stretch. Southeast, they've got the Heat, who stumbled out of the gates at the start of this season. But again, I don't think that's too much of a stretch for the East winners. Out West, we've got the Nuggets winning the Northwest Division. The Clippers, and in the Pacific, I didn't pick them, but I could see them. Obviously, the Warriors, the Suns, it's a strong division. But we've got the Clippers winning and the Southwest going to a very good Memphis Grizzlies team. Now, before we go deeper into the conference and the overall winner, we wanted to take a look at the individual awards. Our team thinks the Rookie of the Year, again, not too big a stretch, Paolo Banchero. I had a chance to watch a couple of his games. We saw his highlight earlier today, and dude's for real. I'm excited to see what he does over the course of a long NBA season. Defensive Player of the Year, Bam Adebayo. That's our team's pick. I'm not as sold on Bam, but I'll tell you this much. I think the Heat need Bam to be a Defensive Player of the Year, to do anything this season, to actually get back to the finals or even the Eastern Conference Finals. They need him. They need him to be a Defensive Player of the Year type player, if not an MVP type player. So this might be wishful thinking, but good a pick as any. Sixth Man of the Year, like this pick, Malcolm Brogdon. I think he's going to be a great fit in Boston. Boston looks good coming out the gate. Interesting pick. Most improved player, we've got Tyrese Halliburton. The Kings took a lot of heat for trading him. I know he had a good game yesterday, and he's a good player, and he should have a chance to really flourish in Indiana. So this looks like a pretty solid pick by our team. And the MVP, Luka Doncic. I think this is going to be a pretty wide open race. You know, our MVP picks. Player often gets a lot. We will revisit them at the end of the season. I think in the NBA, is Giannis. You know, we'll see what we got right. What we obviously, this is the year that they are now etched. LeBron's going to pass Kareem, and LeBron has come out the gates like I got more to go. First season, we didn't pick them all. Amazing. So most valuable players is subjective. It's whatever you mean it, whatever you want it to mean. I think. But I do think it's Luka's time to wear the crown. We'll see how it plays out. Our Eastern Conference winner, pretty unanimous pick. Well, it's not fair to say unanimous, but overwhelming pick were the Bucks, and I kind of agree with that. Now in the West, there was a little fudging. Comes down to the Clippers and the Warriors. Again, the West is strong, the East is strong. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like Denver. Certainly the Suns. There are some really good teams and some good sleeper teams in the West, but these are probably pretty safe picks. And barring injuries, it makes sense that one of these two teams will be here at the end, which takes us to our finals pick. I'm an LA guy. I live here. Grew up and continue to really appreciate the Lakers, the Clippers. I just like good basketball. And I got to tell you, I think I can speak for Clipper fans. Seeing this is scary. It's kind of like when Charles Barkley picks you to win it all. It's kind of a kiss of death. I don't want to do that to the Clippers. But listen, they're the odds-on favorite, or at least one of the. They are a very good team. They came out the gates 2-0. They've got Kawhi Leonard back. They're incredibly deep, probably the deepest team in the NBA. Right now, it's their finals to lose. Now, again, barring injury, barring some catastrophe, I wouldn't be surprised to see them actually kick down the door and make it to the finals for the first time in franchise history. They're going to win it all. This is why we play the games, man. I'm excited to see it. So that's our pick. Those are all of our picks. We will revisit and see how we did at the end of this season. Which takes us to the question of the day. Now, generally, I like to do this with somebody from our team so that we can get a little interaction, debate it a little bit. Today, it's just me, so I'll give you my thoughts. Happy to hear yours. Excited to hear yours, really, in the comments if you don't mind. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong. The question, again, we talked about it earlier. We discussed it, are the Utah Jazz and Washington Wizards playoff teams. They're both 2-0. Now, I hinted at this a little bit before. To me, the difference between the Jazz and the Wizards is Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is a certified all-star. He is a great player. Nothing against the Utah Jazz, but they don't have anybody in that category. They are a good team. Now, in the history of the NBA, a very good team has won the NBA Finals once. A superstar-free team, the 06 Detroit Pistons. It's happened before, but it's happened once. Good teams generally, do good in the playoffs, but don't really have a lot of success. You need that all-star. So I think the difference here is the Wizards have that, the Utah Jazz don't. I think it's great for the NBA to see them start 2-0 in Utah when nobody thought that, they got rid of Gobert, they got rid of Mitchell. Nobody thought that this team was going to do anything. It's good to see. But I think it'll be short-lived, I'm afraid. I'm happy to be wrong, but I think the Washington Wizards, as tough as the East is now, will likely be a lower seed in the NBA playoffs. the Utah Jazz, the West is just too tough. There's too many solid teams for the Utah Jazz to sustain this and to be a playoff team. So if you're asking me, and well, you aren't, but the screen is, I'm saying the Utah Jazz will not be a playoff team. The Washington Wizards will be. We'll see. That's it. That's our show, like we always do. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Week 1 of the 2022-23 NBA season is in the books. Won't you join us next week after week number 2 when we once again run it back?
Drop a bounce pass, throw down the rim rocker. Lay up off the glass right past the shot blocker. I follow through like Kobe's his money. You can cash it. For news on LA hoops, come over to Beach Basket.